guys? Zach here from Crew 42, giving you the feature card coverage of the Fallasburg Open located in Lowell, Michigan for round 1. Super excited to get this coverage out to you guys. One of the locals' favorite courses here in Grand Rapids, as well as the conclusion to the tour series for Grand Rapids. I'm Zach O'Haron, and on the mic with me we have Donut. How you doing, Donut?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Super excited to have you back in on the mic again. Huge shout out to the sponsors who got this tournament going, including Lumberjack Discs, Tauch Twin, Stop Science Engraving, Zuka, Grand Rapids Disc Golf Tour, Zanfeld, Disc Baron, and Innova Disc Golf. Thank you guys so much for helping the tour to be a success this year.
First up, we got Ian Hamilton, rated 980, 12 wins. He's from the Grand Rapids area. Ooh, I like that little smirk there.
Second one on the card, we got Dan Treece, rated 991. He's got 32 career wins under his belt. He's also from the Grand Rapids area. Real nice guy. Glad to have him back on the card since Kalamazoo Open, so it's good to see him again.
Big boy Reed Frescura, monster thighs, 10-13, from Holland. We're going to see him on tour this year.
Super excited for 2020 for him. Here on the fourth position, we got Sancho Valdez. We also saw him at the Smash coverage not too long ago. Great to have him back on the card again. He's also from Grand Rapids.
And rounding out, Willie Prince, just over 1,000 here. He's from Wyoming, Grand Rapids area too. He's got way too big of gloves on to be playing disc golf.
And this is an exciting announcement for us. We got a new deal with some of our local stores out here, and we got our new flight crew going on. We actually have a drone, so our holdover coverages are now going to be with a drone. Now, you have to forgive me. This is my second time actually flying the drone, so it's a little shaky here, but you'll get the idea. It's only going to get better from here. Hole 1 is a 574-foot monster. You're really just trying to lay up in front of these pine trees you're flying over right now, and your second shot, you're either going to do a big hyzer right side over those trees and attack the pin location, or you're going to attack the left side either with an anhyzer look or if you read a hyzer, lefty hyzer trying to get into this pin location. So pretty difficult par 4 to start them off.
Is there any sort of play here to have any layup shot to make it the hyzer easier for your second shot setting up for the birdie?
Yeah, you can lay up just a little bit. A lot of the guys are doing exactly what Dan does here, which is just a big hyzer out in the middle, and you just try to get to that short pad. That's the safest place to be because you have the most open space. But if you get a little more aggressive, you can beat kind of like a last couple pine trees, and then that leaves yourself with a little softer shot. You don't have to quite maybe club up as high as you have to in order to get to the basket. So here's Ian here. That's a pretty flexy disc he's warping there.
It looks like a really comfortable shot for these players where they'd probably all call it a big hyzer, but it's not a really max throw by any means. It's just whatever's really nice in their range.
Yeah, and Ian landed on that left side of that bush, which is actually a good spot to be in. You actually leave yourself with lots of room on the left side to kind of take an anhyzer look or maybe a big forehand.
Yeah, kind of an uncomfortable view from our second camera angle there, but looks like the throw from there will be unobstructed.
Yeah. Here we got Reed. Big arm here. He's literally doing the same setup. He was trying to just lay up there to the short pad.
He's trying to break in his disc on the short pad.
He almost did. A couple feet the wrong way, and he might have needed to replace it already. Here's Sancho now. He's probably going to do the...
Sancho's doing a big flex shot, it looks like. Big Annie with an overstable disc.
So I'm not sure what that is. He cranked it over a little too much. It's going to land a little short. Just didn't have enough time, enough airspeed in order to flex out. But
I don't know if there's some wind or some weird cold action because he really lined up for that gigantic anhyzer.
Yep.
But then the disc didn't really do what I expected based on his release.
Yeah, I think it's the mud in front of the pad. I know that was in the guy's
He was
mind.
a little timid maybe coming through.
Possibly, yeah. Here's Willie. And he perfectly stepped over the mud that we just talked about. It didn't bother him at all, and he just destroyed this. This is the aggressive line. And he's rewarded for it. He gets past the pine tree.
You can get really unlucky there in that pine tree.
Absolutely.
Automatic 4, talking about a 5 if you don't get out.
Yep, you're absolutely right. And but he got rewarded. Got a little aggressive there. He'll have hopefully a good look to get up and down from there. Here's Sancho. So even this shot from Sancho that wasn't optimal, he's still in position where he can still attack this pin location with a big bomb here.
Looking at this a second time, I think that Sancho threw the throw he did just to make sure that he didn't end up left. He really wanted to be on that right side for his approach.
Right.
So he was comfortable with his disc maybe even rolling or going way too far to the right.
Sure.
And that way, if he the mud got into him and the disc flexed back too much,
right,
then he would still be in the center and he
right.
wouldn't have any sort of problems.
Yep. So
Ian may be a little bit too close to that bush there. We were talking about he'd probably be fine, but that's a awesome shot from him from a almost obstructed, I would call it, lie.
Yeah.
I think he's comfortable with that, but he would rather we're a little far away.
Yeah, and there's that one pine tree that's sitting in front of the basket, which is going to leave him with a really obstructed up putt, but it's still a makeable one. Here's Dan. He's going to have to go big hyzer over the top like he did with Sancho. And he went real high. I didn't see it till the last second. And that's a pretty traditional play. Try to play a little plinko, get the disc to sit down.
Yeah, that'll be a really easy putt from Dan. I am so excited to watch Dan Treece putt because it is just fascinating if you haven't seen someone putt like him before.
Yes, he's one of the best spin putters I've ever seen.
It's the most aggressive thing in the world, and he has putts that he either lays up or goes in the basket.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of misses from Dan. Big boy Reed going a little too far on a almost 600-foot hole, but that's all right. He'll be comfortable putting from there, I think.
And Willie's got just enough space in front of this pine tree where he's actually even going to get a run up. So literally probably optimal positioning here.
Yeah, I think he would literally walk out into the fairway and set his disc there if he could.
Yep. This is looking really good. There's that nice opening there that he's hit really well here. Put himself nice 15 feet from the basket. That's
easy tap in.
Oh, yeah. I played this this hole a few times that I've been out there, and I've never come close to an easy 3 like that.
This is a brutal lie from Ian here. It looks like he's going to go down on a knee and try to go under. Even the hyzer line isn't really there. He could go like a lefty hyzer, but
I think this is an actual mid in his hand, and he's just a little low there. But I think he was trying to club up to a mid to try to give it a little more.
Bang it with nose up.
Yep. And the low ceiling just killed him there.
Yeah, he probably just picked his disc width that he felt had the most glide at any speed.
Sancho's probably going to go with a similar strategy here. Just touched low.
Yeah, it looked like he tried to force some nose up in his little flick there at the end.
Yep.
He gave a little extra snap. Dan Treece, this isn't going to be a real textbook Dan putt, but
I wouldn't bet against him still.
Yeah, no, he still does it.
Ooh, just a touch to the left side there.
Yeah, it comes from like his belly button, and he draws power from the button and just launches it. He puts it like he's driving.
Here we got Reed, one of the best putters in the world. This is in his range, just a touch short. Also, while we have a moment here, I want to thank John Clark III for stepping out and helping us with the recording this day. We actually only had one camera that was coming out, and he was had available time and came out and helped us out. So thanks, John, for you see him there actually in the corner next to Reed. So thanks for coming out. Willie with the beautiful birdie just a moment ago, and Ian tapping in his par. Excuse me.
Yeah, this hole is super easy to draw up how you want it to go.
Yep.
You can't really screw up the first shot for these MPO players.
Yeah.
The second shot is just so tough to dial in.
Yep.
You really have the circle isn't even really what you're aiming for. You're aiming for tighter than that.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to miss your line. Even if your disc would come in there, you can bang off a couple trees.
Yeah, it's hard to describe.
The birdie's really tough.
Yeah, it's a tough 3 to get. Hole 2 now, 243 feet. With the winter time here, the foliage gone, this hole actually gets easier, but that does not mean it is easy. You have a really tight gap. You're trying to throw it over these bushes where the drone is right now and try to get the disc to land straight down into this little pocket here. Give yourself a putt from there. A lot of people leak right in order to try to get their disc on hyzer, and they just find themselves in those woods early. So Willie's starting us off here. And he does exactly that. You see his disc there, just a touch too far to the right. He's going to cut up early. Hopefully we'll have it out there, and maybe he can get a look for 2 maybe, or at least an easy layup. Not sure what this is in Dan's hand. Ooh.
Yeah, you almost want a gigantic or a super flippy putter on the most possible hyzer and flip it the whole way.
Yep.
Because you want some early hyzer here, but to keep it out of the right side, but you still want it to be able to turning to flat at the end here.
So Ian's thrown a rock, I believe, here. I think this is one of his glow rocks, just to try to get that angle, and it worked really, really nicely.
Yeah, he's running basket there.
Yep. That's a pretty good run.
Disc in his hand.
Reed forced to kind of this lefty turnover putt.
This is a more textbook pro putter line from the lefty side, obviously, where you have a turnover shot and you want it to land really soft. Unlucky kick there from Reed, but other than that, a beautiful shot. Great line.
Yeah, so
obstructed putt, but well within his range.
For sure.
If it weren't obstructed.
So. Yeah, and that's the last tree you have to avoid when trying to attack this hole, so he's just too inside for that one. Maybe he didn't turn it over quite as much.
Reed loves that Michigan golf, too, where you do everything right and bang off the tree
last second. Get punished anyway. Sancho leaked right as well, so he'll be putting over there with Dan and Willie. So here's Sancho first. He's just at the edge here. He's probably got a half run here up the alley. Not bad from him.
Yeah, that's, a free run from him because he can take an easy 3 no matter what.
Yep.
Dan laying up as he does when he can't run it.
Yeah, it was a weird spot for him to be in. Like, it was just, he had to throw over some bushes. It just wasn't a real solid look. Willie was just getting straight aggressive. He, couldn't see the basket.
Again, I think that's a more free run where you just put the disc high up in the air, make sure it's a putter, let it sit where you want it to.
Here's Reed now. There he goes. That one wasn't short.
Good for Reed to recover after that first miss.
Yep.
That one was really in his range, and then to have a second tester back-to-back.
Yep.
It's so tough to make that second one, because if you miss the second one, your round might not be over, but it certainly feels like it.
Yeah, it could be a mental game for you to fight through.
Then your putting's off for the rest of the day, and maybe even it leaks into your drives and upshots.
Yep. Reed's a pretty good touring pro. He's going to make those
putts. He's definitely been in that situation before, and we can see why he's rated, 10-18 now?
10, yeah.
We can see why he's rated so high, and just to bounce back from that tough putt.
Right. Hole 3 now, 259 feet. Definitely plays way more than this. There's a slight uphill, but that's not the reason why. This dog leg is so far to the right that unless you have a ton of power in your forehand, it's almost impossible to reach this. Very few people will try to go backhand to attack this hole. It's a very kind of awkward position. You'll see these guys definitely try to chuck drivers, try to get a couple skips, trying to get into that circle there.
Yeah, you almost want to bang it into the ground to get a huge flare out of it with a crazy overstable disc. That's what Ian's doing. Pretty much exactly how I drew it up here. Big flare, second skip. Kind of wanted the third, but it curls up nicely.
He still circles edge.
In his range.
Yep.
I think he's very comfortable with that shot.
This
guy does not need a big forehand for this hole.
He does not.
The skip master himself, Reed Frescura. He's going high, though. I like this line from a lefty backhand. There's a lot more space to play with, and it just lends itself to a backhand flight more than the righty forehand flight.
Yep.
So he can afford to just play the really comfortable hyzer on this hole with a super overstable disc.
Yep.
Even for he's probably a distance driver, even at 259.
Yep. That's what Willie's throwing here. He's throwing a Big Z Force, I believe, out of his bag.
That's probably what Reed threw. I don't know about his plastic as well.
I think he threw an ESP something, if I recall. Yeah. And that's probably optimal for your forehand. That's really ideal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dan is one of the few people who won't throw forehand here.
Dan's one of those people that... Does he throw a forehand? Do you think he averages one forehand around? Or
probably. Right in that range, if that.
Right.
And this is looking really nice.
These guys that just absolutely refuse to throw forehands under any circumstances are forced to come up with really creative options in their bag and in their game to create these shots. And they're absolute masters of it, like Dan.
Yep. Who does and that glide actually favors him in this
hole. I think his game would improve if he came to forehands, but it's hard to argue with what he just did.
Right, yeah. I think in this particular hole the backhand's almost even better because you get a little extra glide.
For a regular person though, I would not recommend.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sancho, long run. Good bid, just off the lid there of the basket.
This is right at everyone's just outside circle range, probably 30.
This is kind of where you expect to land, is where Ian is.
Yep.
Assuming you're pretty good.
Right.
Ooh, no.
Just short. You can see he wanted that little hop.
And then all these people that are closer than Ian are just stellar shots.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
Just short.
Now, how cold is it on this day?
This particular morning, it was pretty chilly. It was snowing when I first got there when it was still black. And Willie just off the top of the basket there. I want to say it was still just below freezing at this point in the round, but the sun's about to pop out pretty soon here, so hopefully these guys will be able to warm up. Dan with the nice birdie.
Yep. That was a really good view of the Dan Treece putt, too.
Yeah.
Just from a comfortable stance and a pure power from the button.
Yeah. You can see on Sancho's back there, we still have some wetness on the leaves and stuff like that, so you can see it still bumps
it just
off.
looks like an uncomfortable weather here. It's not freezing cold, which, I mean, that's not better, but you kind of know what you're in for all day.
Right.
This weather looks like they geared up for 0 degrees and started ripping layers off, and they're not sure if they want their gloves on or not.
And if you notice, Reed is carrying his brand new basket for the day.
Oh, that is beautiful.
He went on Facebook.
Where do you think he got that?
I don't know. Because I don't want to pay them for saying your name.
Oh.
Hole 4 here, 275 feet, par 3, dead straight. Without the foliage, it's a little easier. You have a little more room to flex to the right side past this gap right here, but you really want something dead straight the whole way. Anyway, back to Reed. He made a post on Facebook that if he got enough likes, I believe, that he would carry around his discs in a...
Oh, I saw that.
In a basket.
I allowed it.
And he got enough likes, so he came out today with his brand new... I think Discraft should make them. I think Discraft should make a run.
Do you think that he borrowed that basket?
I don't know.
Or do you think that it's at his house today?
I sure hope it's at his house. That's got to be memorabilia.
If he borrowed it, did he borrow it from Lowe's? Or did he borrow it from someone else who took it from Lowe's?
I don't know. We'll have to ask him. Dan there, just a touch off to the side there. He landed just a bit short. Ian looking really good with his rock right here.
Those rocks just go so high up in the air, it looks like a bad shot, but then they sit down so nicely.
Yeah.
It's just the strangest glide on that specific disc.
Reed going with a forehand, which I actually like for him in this play. It just leaves him, if like pending disaster, it's not going to end as badly. So there's a good run, good choice from him. And I swear to God, to this day, if it hadn't hit those leaves, it would have gone in.
Yeah, it's still a great shot. He can't be upset with that. That's the second time Reed's had a disc that's about to go in the basket.
It's been deflected.
Second time on the channel, Reed had a disc swatted out of the basket by a tree.
Willie had maybe an early release there, or maybe the disc didn't turn over, but he's going to be stuck on that left bush there. You can have an obstructed view, probably go to a knee. Sancho now, and that's a rock as well, I'm pretty sure, out of his bag. He's also throwing that way up. And he overthrew this.
Ooh, somewhat lucky kick there. It looks like it stayed somewhat on the side of the branches, but he might have to crawl in there halfway.
Here's Willie, really obstructed. He's going to have to go big hyzer.
Oh, Willie. Do it to me.
That's just incredible. He's going to get our first preview of the day. This was just incredible. Everyone thought he was just going to lay up because it was really obstructed, and Willie's like, nah, I'm just going to...
Yeah, there's really no reason to lay up there from Willie's perspective. He's made putts like that before.
For sure.
He's comfortable with his fall. He probably checked out the landing.
Ooh. Dan, second putt there just off of the basket, just off the side.
I talked up how Dan doesn't miss putts, and
I'm going to blame the weather on this one.
It's just really uncomfy out there.
If he locked in those 2 putts and gets himself lined up here, he's 3 down right now. He's almost perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's right there. Ian with the nice birdie. He had to take a knee there. That one last bit of foliage that's still alive is just enough to get in these guys' way.
There you go, Dan. I'm sure he's not happy with where he's at, but 1 under is a comfortable score to attack the lead after this.
Yep. Here's Reed after his beautiful, beautiful shot. Nice birdie from him. Still a pretty tight race. Everyone's within a stroke of each other.
Yeah, some couple great shots, a couple mishaps, but they've all lined up for the card to still be really tight.
Yeah. Hole 5 now. This is a monster hole, 496 feet, which is a big fat lie when it comes to how the hole plays. Hole probably plays 650. or more. It's all uphill the entire way. It's just so big. It takes 2 giant throws to have a chance at a putt.
Got some first day drone action for you
guys here too.
That's okay. We'll get there.
Yep. We'll do better next time.
Don't have enough batteries to do 9 takes of every hole.
That's fair. I only had 1 battery this day, so I had to keep leaving like for 20 minutes away to go charge it and then come back. Ian really with the optimal drive there and a really good kick, put him back on the left side of the fairway there. He's going to leave himself open with that righty hyzer look for his approach. Reed now maybe trying to flip that a little bit more.
Yeah, that's not where he wants to be. He definitely wanted to... It looks a lot like he wanted that disc to turn a lot more than it did.
Right. And there's a ditch lining the whole right side of the fairway. So not only will you be off the fairway, but you're going to have an obstructed like stance. And Willie now back-to-back par 4 holes with perfect drives. I can't imagine a better drive than that.
And so these boards along the fairway here, which I believe to be there for erosion, they're trying to stop the sand and dirt from being flowed with the water down the hill.
Yep.
And so that the hill doesn't completely wash out. They're not great for disc golf.
It stops them early.
Yeah, they're not good for your birdies on this hole. If you come towards the ground, you're not going to get any skid at all. It's going to go another 15 feet to the next board, and you're going to whack it.
Right.
But it'll keep you in the center. You won't skip out of the fairway most of the time. So there's some good and bad with those big planks there.
Yep. Here's Sancho. He's taking a big throw at this.
That's got to flip a little more, I think.
Yeah, and he's going to get caught up in that first bush on the left side. So, like, Sancho right there had big throw, and he's still 60 feet from the basket. Like, this hill is just enormous. And Dan got caught in a really awkward spot with the hill and with that pine tree, and so very wisely just decides to lay up.
Yeah, I mean, that's an awesome shot from where he's at. He bit off a lot of distance. He'd like to be a little more centered, but he's far closer to the basket than I'm sure he could have expected to be.
Reed was also in an awkward spot. I think he didn't want to turn this over quite that much, but that's probably Sancho's level there.
I mean, he hit his line, he hit the gap, and he bit off a lot of distance.
Yep.
That wasn't the perfect throw, but, I mean, asking more than that
is a lot.
Quite a lot on that from that stance. Ian going wide line, way around the right.
And he caught, like, you can't see it behind that tree right there, but he caught one of the tops of the very tree and it knocked him straight down, so he's going to be off to the right off the fairway.
Yeah, that was definitely the high-risk play from Ian there. He tried to get to the basket on that. Kind of got punished.
Here's Willie with that wasp, and I've never, ever seen anyone 3 this hole before. Like, or let me say it this way. I've never seen anyone 3 this hole and being 5 feet from the basket.
Right.
That's just...
You're talking about an outside the circle putt.
Oh, yeah.
Even a throw-in.
Yep, and that was amazing. Dan getting caught up in that same tree Sancho did earlier. He's probably going to have to go up and down for his 5 there, but considering where his first drive went, that's par, so par for him. Ian just taking a awkward stance, putting himself close.
Yeah, this is one of those holes on this course where you kind of have to reevaluate what you're playing for after every single shot. Where if your drive goes as planned, you can play for the 3, but for most people, you're playing for a 4 after the first shot. If the second shot doesn't go well, you can't force anything because this hole can really punish you.
Yeah.
If you just come out to this hole and start to get frustrated and try to get to the basket when you shouldn't, that's where the 6s and 7s come in.
It's a forehand from Dan.
Is it a putter?
I believe it is a putter. I think it's a harp. And you can't argue. Officially, his forehands left him exactly 1 foot from the pin.
Yeah, I mean, those are the Dan Treece forehands where if he has to do it, it's really a forehand shot.
Yep.
Got some action going on in the back. I don't know what they're talking about, but it can't be good.
There's too much troublemakers back there.
An easy tap in. Looks like all our players are going to tap in from a couple feet out here. Some nice approaches. Sorry about that bogey, Dan. Everyone else looks good.
That's all right.
shooting a little out of order here. These players are all very friendly with each other.
Yeah, they all know
I'm sure
each
it was
other.
okay. And it had to take Reed a long time to get all the way up the hill with that basket.
It did take him a second.
So,
but that's okay.
Kindly letting all the other players tap in before he trudges on up there with the Lowe's bag.
Hole 6, now the most Michigan hole you've ever seen. There are 0 lines. There is 100% luck. I literally don't know how else to describe this hole.
How tall are the trees if you want to go big?
You can't. You are in them.
Are we talking like 80 feet?
Yeah, okay. They're huge. They all go up. Yeah, so the play is to take a disc that's semi-stable and put it on the right side and try to attack, because the lines of trees kind of go right to left a little bit, and so you're just trying to hit one of those lines and sneak in towards the basket, but it really is just a shoot and pray. It's like there's no real line to hit consistently. And
I know this is Reed's favorite thing in the world.
Oh,
these kind of
yeah,
holes.
absolutely.
I'm sure he's thrilled on the card right now.
Willie had actually a really nice throw, hit a tree at the last second, kind of pushed him out right, but he still has a look for his birdie. This is a bonus birdie, not necessarily because of like the distance or anything, but just because of how much luck is involved.
Yeah, there's
an example of that.
The cool thing about this hole is it does test your mental game, and you can think about it as a cool thing or just the worst thing in the world, like me and Reed here feel. But
oh my, I forgot about this. Reed just said I didn't want to throw through it.
You know, those discs are a lot skinnier when you stand them on end. Maybe that's the logic here.
And he literally bumped one of the last roots, and it forced that to turn over a touch too early, I think.
I think he's still fine with that lie, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean that's you're most of the way up there. You probably have some form of a look.
I'm sure if he's thrown some practice rounds here, he's ended up in the hill down to the left. Sancho wisely playing the skip shot here off first 2 trees. The third skip doesn't look like he was planned, and he's going to be way out. Right.
And then here's Dan.
This is nuts. This is like playing the 3D pinball game on PC in the 90s.
Yeah. And he hugged his a little too close to the inside, hit that first tree. And so now he's getting, like, here's the scary part. If you land short like Dan is, like, this approach shot is not easy.
It's basically just the tee shot again.
Yes.
It's like a re-tee, but you're shooting 2 instead of 3.
Yep, and Dan does a pretty nice job there, giving himself a good look there. Got through most of it.
Yeah, wisely throwing it very soft there, so even if he does hit a tree, he doesn't get super punished for it. It doesn't bounce way out. Sancho with another nice up. Those are 2 easy threes. You're going to see a lot of that on this hole is your drive didn't go exactly as planned, even though not as planned was kind of the plan. Reed runs everything from inside 200 feet. The tee was 204, so he threw a roller. Then he's inside running basket. But after the tee shot, I mean, you're just taking a 3. Sometimes you get lucky, like Ian. He hit a tree. His lie was still okay, and he just nailed a routine putt.
Reed with a nice save there. That's a bit of a tester.
I mean, that's why Reed runs so many things, is because he's so comfortable with his comeback putts.
Yep.
And I've seen Reed miss a lot of putts, and I call it a putt when it's 90 and in from him because he's just trying to make it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I've ever seen him miss a comeback. It always goes in. So,
Sure.
I mean, that's what a layup is anyways. So what's the risk if you're Reed Frescura?
Especially at his level of putting. He's probably one of the best putters in the world right now.
Absolutely.
There's like almost no downside for him trying to go after it. Not bad. Usually someone sneaks in a bogey there on that hole, so pretty good from the card here heading into hole 7. 299 feet. It's slightly downhill, and it's deceptively long. I noticed a lot of players, including myself, for some reason struggle to get the disc all the way down into this zone, but it's really just kind of a left to right fade. You just want to turn over a disc and let it glide all the way there.
It's not great for the forehand, even though it fades left to right, because the corner is so early and then there's a fairway.
Yep.
So you kind of want your disc to come out flat and then turn when it gets into its high-speed flight and kind of just float to the right. You don't want a disc to corner to the right like a overstable forehand will.
Right. Willie with an early tree kick, unluckily. We'll edit that out. Better distance, like speed control from that rock from Ian, but just a little too far to the left.
Now, I do like the lefty backhand more so than the righty forehand, like I said before, because you're going to get some flip in there, and the turn isn't the same. Reed getting a little unlucky, hanging it out a little wide, trying to almost play a hyzer there when I think it fits more towards like a flippy shot.
Sure.
But that'll be an easy up and down from him. And by up and down, I mean he's going to run it.
He's going to barely miss, maybe, or smash an amazing putt.
Yeah, sometimes you make them when you throw from 120. They're eventually going to go in.
Yeah, 100%. Dan hugging that inside line real tight. And he nicked a tree, but it still kept going forward, so...
Dan's going to have a little outside look there. That might be a Dan Treece layup, but easy 3 either way, whether he runs it or not.
Willie had a really weird look here. You can see here that it's just like pretty obstructed still. So he had to pick a opening and see if he could get to the basket, which he does.
Yeah. I mean, that's an excellent upshot from an awesome pro player. He's been in these tough positions before. Great run from Reed, as always.
That pin spot was perfect, just a little low. Sancho now trying to make a run at it. He's got to get there. Touch short. Actually, right around the basket, so leading up to the basket, all this leaves is like hard ground, and then about 15 feet in front of it until past it is all sand. Really soft, and Dan bangs in a nice putt there. He's going to get our second crew view of the round.
Now Dan's starting to back me up, where when he walks up, if he second guesses him for himself, he'll lay up. But if he thinks he's going to make it, he throws the disc 60 miles an hour straight into the pole, and it just splashes in. It's so easy.
Well, you can see there, like, the ground, disc had no ground action to, like, what I was just saying a moment ago, where, like, it's so soft sand that there's almost no risk. Like, you land 10 feet past it, it'll be 11 feet by the time it stops.
Willie getting a little sweaty here. The disc goes all the way through the chains, but finds its way into the bottom of the cage. Looks like easy 3s from the card, except for Dan Treece's amazing putt from way out.
There he is with a big smile behind everyone. It's like, no biggie. It's just a great putt. Sancho looking over at us, making sure we're still around. Headed into hole 8 now, 281 feet, par 3. Another left to right kind of shot. The real mistake that you can make that will leave you in trouble is on the right side there. You see those bushes and those dead trees and stuff. If you try to cut this corner a little too early, you'll leave yourself in those, and then there's almost no look for birdie at all. You really want to throw something high in the air. If you have the forehand, go for it. If not, you're throwing a backhand way in the air and trying to attack the space.
Yeah, normally I'd think an entire MPO card would throw all forehands here, but we've got Willie and Dan here.
Yep.
And so we're probably going to see some mixed shots. Dan turning his over way too early. Might be some different wind out there in that field than on the tee.
You'll actually see a couple of those trees kind of shift a little bit. There was a kind of a twisting wind. It was really strange.
Willie's been working on his forehand game in the last year. A lot of people have been telling me about it.
Yep.
I've seen a little bit of it in his game. He's in that weird position where his forehand's looking really good, but his backhand is so good historically.
Yep.
That he's kind of in limbo whether he should commit to those forehands or not.
Right.
Unlucky there.
And so that's that weird wind I was telling you about. Like, his disc looked perfect off the tee. It had the line. It turned over perfectly. And then all of a sudden, it kind of like the wind, you hear a little strong gust, and then it just started straightening it out. And it was just weird.
Ian, I wasn't expecting his backhand there, but he's in position for a long putt. This is the dream Reed hole, right?
Yeah, and this is another weird, I don't know if it was wind or if he left it out too wide. It just, like, crashed. Like, his disc got out there, started, and then just all of a sudden, like, put the brakes on and just went straight down.
Reed probably played for that. He's a really smart player, and he probably got a little spooked by the players off to the right side of the fairway.
Sure.
And felt really comfortable out on the left there, leaving enough space.
Could be.
He loves his putt.
Yep.
I mean, I think he's comfortable with that 40-foot.
Everything's in his range, right? So here's Dan from inside the bush. He's going to look like a high route here.
Yep, just trying to bite off as much distance as he can while still staying in the fairway. Easy step out.
Yep.
Tap in from Dan there. Might have to take a knee, but he'll make that.
Here's Willie also going high. Ooh.
Willie's running.
Yeah. That's the second time now he's had a completely blind basket, and he's just like, I'm going to throw at it. Here's Reed now. Probably 45 feet in that range.
Oh, no.
Just over the top.
Yeah, it looks like a little downhill putt there. The basket is slightly below where he was standing and just didn't make the correct adjustment.
Here's Sancho now. And that's a tough putt to be, reaching out that far.
Yeah, I think his putters are super overstable, too, as far as putters go.
Yeah, I almost want to say, Sancho's, you can comment below and tell me if I'm wrong. I almost want to say you putt with AVR X3s. I could be wrong.
That's like a throwing putter for a lot of people, too.
Yeah. Like AVR 3, maybe. I remember seeing something about that.
They're both pretty stable.
I forget which one, though. If that's wrong, Sancho, I apologize. Willie with a tap in there. I say tap in because it's like a tester for most people in the world, but for him, it's a tap in. Reed had to do a little stretch out.
Reed, backing me up, never misses a comeback putt.
Just keep it going.
Wasn't an easy one, but still a tap. Oh, no, Sancho.
So that was wind.
Yeah, I believe
I remember sitting there, and like as soon as that came off his hand, it was just like, what just happened?
No, the second comeback can't be easy either.
No,
then you're
it was farther.
frustrated.
It was another 5-6 feet farther, too.
It's just so in your head there.
And he's a very aggressive putter.
Absolutely.
Like he's a very firm, confident putter. So as soon as he threw it, like the wind picked it up at all, it was gonna really pick it up. So unlucky from him there, but Ian's saying he's not gonna play that game. He's just gonna drop it in. All right, heading into hole 9 now. 226 feet, par 3 here. There's a guardian set of trees here. These two that kind of like flow the fairway down the middle here. Those really the two you got to get past. These two trees that are closer to the basket, they still leave you with a putt going at it. But that's really the first two trees to get into the fairway are the real obstacle. A lot of people hit those, leave themselves with a really long 2 look or like no look at all. Looks like Dan didn't quite turn that over.
Yeah, it's tough to make the adjustment going back into the trees here. So regardless of what happened last hole, there's pretty much never going to be any wind on this hole on any day.
Right.
Outside of some bizarre conditions where you weren't disc golfing anyways.
And Willie also gets an ugly kick out into the woods. Yeah, I do like that about this course, too, is that you kind of go back and forth between holes. Like hole 5 is uphill, really open, and then hole 6 is like super Michigan-y woody. You know, hole 7 is kind of a mix between the two. You know, hole 8 is open again, and then hole 9 you're right back in the woods again. So it kind of requires players to kind of have both sides of their game ready to go, and you have to kind of mentally switch back and forth between,
the wind adjustment is super tough too.
Yeah. Taking wind into consideration. This is looking nice up the gut. Yeah, and that's pretty close to ideal there. I mean,
yeah, absolutely beautiful.
That was nice.
Sancho really needs to be making some aggressive plays here. Starting to fall off the pack on our lead card here. Certainly not doing bad today, but
he's giving himself a look there. Yeah, it looks like
we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 right now.
Uh-huh.
What a race.
They planned it, I bet. They talked to each other and was like, hey.
Yeah, this Crew 42 footage is doctored. We added in a couple extra shots and took some out.
This is actually rounds 7 through 9. Nice up from Dan there. Willie had a really, really tough look. He really kicked deep in there. Spoiler, he also loses his mini in that exact spot.
Really wisely running the basket from way out when you can't see anything. Great shot. Easy tap in. Take his 3.
Sancho from probably just at circle's edge, if just inside.
Big putt from Sancho. Nice birdie by him.
Good hit from him.
That's so tough after that birdie setup into bogey last hole, and then to bounce back. He's got to be feeling confused right now.
Right. It definitely can do a mental warp on a player.
Yeah, doing some gymnastics.
And so even though the sun is coming out, you can see Reed putting his hood back on. It's just the weather's like kind of chilly, but like still not frozen. It's a weird day, and it's only going to get weirder.
Yeah, in and out of the woods and in and out of the wind and in and out of your right-hand glove all the time. Reed's left-hand glove. And the Lowe's bag can't be helping this.
It was so great. He loved it the whole round. Here's our front 9 scores here. Willie and Ian and Reed kind of packed together. 3 down for Ian and Reed and 4 down for Willie, while Sancho and Dan are just a stroke off at 1 down, just a few strokes away, still in the race there. Thanks to our Patreon sponsors for helping us provide great disc golf coverage for the West Michigan area. Stay tuned for our back 9 coverage of Fallasburg Round 1.